What's up guys, it's DarkArmedDuelist and today doing an FA deck profile. So I'm really excited to do this one for you guys because this deck was actually suggested to me by one of my patrons, Izzy. And this deck is an extremely fun deck to play that revolves around level manipulating your monsters to go in for all sorts of cool synchro plays. I've included some really cool engines in this deck, so without further ado, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell in there so you can become part of the notification squad, and definitely check out the Patreon down in the description below for all those awesome rewards. Like getting your name description every single video, getting assigned cards in the mail, and even getting to request a deck profile every single month you're a patron. And definitely give Izzy some love down in the comments down below for suggesting such an awesome deck. So let's get straight on into this one, guys. So first off, we're going to be playing 3 copies of FA Auto Navigator. This card is definitely a 3-up in the build and is our main tuner to be able to go in for our synchro plays. This card has the ability, this card's in your hand or your grave, you can actually target an FA monster you control whose current level is higher than its original level and then special summon this card to your side of the field. And if you do, reduce that target's level by the difference in its current level and its original level. And if you do, this card's level becomes equal to the amount reduced, which is a great ability to use with this card to get the exact level that you need to go in for a synchro play. And if this card is normal or special summon, you get to add an FA field spell from your deck to your hand, which is a great effect to instantly get to one of our field spells because the entire deck revolves around the field spell. We then play 3 copies of FA Hang On Mac. This card is definitely a 3-up in the deck, and it's just an amazing card, and all of our FA monsters besides Auto Navigator actually share a really cool common effect that they gain attack equal to their level times 300, and they're unaffected by activated effects from the opponent's monsters whose original level or rank is lower than this card's level. And each time an FA spell or trap card or effect is activated, you increase this card's level by 1, which is a really cool ability that these cards can get absolutely massive. But your copy of Hang On actually is a floodgate because it has the ability, if this card is a level 7 or higher monster, any card sent to your opponent's graveyard is banished instead, which is really cool to be able to turn this card into a floodgate to make sure your cards or your opponent's cards are not going to go to the grave, they're going to get banished instead. We're then playing 3 copy of Whip Crosser. Whip Crosser is really cool as a 3-up in the deck, and this card is also a floodgate because if this card is a level 7 or higher monster, then your opponent cannot discard or send cards from their hand to the graveyard to activate cards effects, which is an amazing effect to be able to lock down your opponent. I love that effect on this card. It's just a definite 3-up in the build. We then play a single copy of Sonic Meister. This card is really good as a 1-up in the deck, and I really like this card just as a 1-up because this card can attack multiple monsters. If it's a level 7 or higher monster, it can make up to 2 attacks on monsters during each battle phase, which is a really cool ability. We then play 2 copies of Dark Dragster. Dark Dragster is actually my favorite of all the FA monsters because this card is just a really good extender. It cannot be normal summoned or set. It must be special summoned from your hand by having a level 7 or higher FA monster on the field, but no FA Dark Dragster in your monster zone. And it also shares the ability it gains attack equal to its level times 300, and each time an FA spell or trap card effect is activated, you increase this card's level by 1, but once per turn, you can actually target 1 card on the field and reduce this card's level by 3, and if you do, destroy that target, which is an amazing ability that this card can actually pop cards on the field. We then play 3 copies of Reflector. Reflector is great as an engine in the deck to be able to play the Assault Mode package in this deck because this card is amazing because if it's normal or special summon, you get to add an Assault Mode activate or 1 card that specifically lists Assault Mode activate in its text from your deck to your hand, which is always going to be your copy of Assault Beast, so you can discard Assault Beast and add Assault Mode activate from your deck to your hand, so that you also get the ability that you can reveal the Assault Mode activate in your hand, target a monster in the graveyard that specifically lists Assault Mode activate in its text, except a copy of Reflector to special summon it, and if you do, increase its level by 1 to 4, which is a great ability to be able to search out your copy of Assault Beast, discard it, add Assault Mode activate, then use your copy of Reflector to reveal Assault Mode activate and bring back this card, making it the level that you need to go in for a synchro play. We then play a single copy of Assault Beast so we can search it off our copy of Reflector, which is just really cool so we can discard it and search out our copy of Assault Mode activate, which is is just really cool to be able to do. We then play 3 copies of Terratop, because Terratop is back at 3. This card is really good, because if you don't control a monster, you can special summon this card from your hand, and when it's normal or special summon, you get to add a Speedroid monster from your deck to your hand, which is a really cool ability to search out our copy of our Tekatomborg, which is great to be able to search, because then we can use these monsters to be able to go in for our copy of Shining Star GT, which is such a cool card to be able to go into, because these are actually machines, and the copy of your Tekatomborg has the ability to control a wind monster. You can special summon this card from your hand. Now, I did consider playing an additional copy of Tekatomborg. If you guys want to add it in, you can add another copy of Tekatomborg into the build, but I feel like one was fine in playtesting, so I just stuck with one. We then play 3 copies of Ash Blossom. Ash Blossom's a definite 3-of in the build, because this card is an amazing effect to basically stop your opponent from touching the deck. It's overall just a fantastic hand trap. So, that's it for the monsters, guys. Let's get in to the spells. So for the spells, we're going to start off with 2 copies of UA Locker Room, which also counts as an FA card, which is so cool about this card. This card lets you target an FA monster you control or in your graveyard and add it back to your hand. If you do, gain 500 life points, then apply the ability to reveal any number of FA monsters in your hand, shuffle them into the deck, and then draw cards equal to the number of shuffled, which is a great effect to be able to shuffle our cards back in the deck, because we do have a lot of normal summons in this build. We then play 2 copies of Test Run. Test Run is really cool as a 2-of in the build, because this card helps out a lot to pop cards on the field, because it lets you target an FA monster you control, change its battle position, and then destroy a card on the field. Also, during your main phase, except turn this card was sent to the grave, you get to banish this card from the graveyard to target a face-up card that you control, destroy it, and if you do, special summon an FA monster from the deck, which is a really cool effect, especially when you pop one of the field spells so you can get a search. We then play 3 copies of UA Hyper Stadium. This card is also counted as an FA card, which is so cool about this card, because this card is basically the Rhoda for the deck. And when this card is activated, you get to add an FA monster from your deck to your hand, which is a really cool ability. It also has the ability you can reveal a field spell in your hand, pay 1,000 life points, and then normal summon an FA monster during your main phase of this turn in addition to your normal summoner set, which is great to get an additional normal summon out to your side of the field. We then play 3 copies of City Grand Prix. City Grand Prix is really good as a 3-of in the build, because this card has the ability that increases the level of all FA monsters on the field by 2 during the main and battle phase, which is really cool because they will gain about 600 attack points each, which is just so cool about this card. This card also has a really cool effect that your opponent cannot target FA monsters you control with card effects, and if this face-up card on the field is destroyed by a card effect, you get to add an FA card from your deck to your hand, which is a great effect. We then play 3 copies of Pit Stop. Pit Stop is great as a 3-of, just to help us draw into the deck, because this card is amazing as a 3-of, because it actually works with multiple copies, because you get to target an FA monster you control, reduce its level by 2, and if you do, draw cards equal to the number of FA Pit Stop in your graveyard plus 1, which is amazing because you can get multiple draws off this card's effect. Also, during your main phase, except the turn this card was sent to the graveyard, you can banish this card from the grave to target an FA monster in your grave and special summon it, making this card also a monster reborn, which is amazing. We then play 3 copies of E-Telly. E-Telly is definitely a 3-of in the build, because this card helps us summon out our copy of Sire Reflector directly from our deck to our side of the field, so we can go in for a synchro play, which is just so cool. So, that's it for the spells, guys. Let's get in to the traps. So for the traps, we're just going to be playing 1, and that's going to be 1 copy of Assault Mode Activate. This card is a brick in the deck, and you never want to see it in your opening hand, because you want to summon out your copy of Sire Reflector, search out Assault Beast, discard Assault Beast, search this card, and then just keep it in your hand to reveal over and over again for your copy of Sire Reflector's ability, so you can go in for synchro plays. But this card is amazing in the deck as a 1-of, just to be able to reveal with your copy of Sire Reflector to make its effect go off. Again, you never want to see this card in your opening hand, but it's still a really good 1-of, because we don't play any of the Assault Mode monsters. So, that's it for the main deck, guys. Let's get into the extra deck. So for the extra deck, guys, we're going to start off with 2 copies of FA Shining Star GT. This card is a really good 2-of boss monster in the deck that gains attack equal to the total level of FA monsters this card points to times 300. But neither player takes any battle damage from attacks involving this card, and it also has the ability that when your opponent activates a monster effect, quick effect, you can remove an athlete counter from this card to negate the activation if you destroy it, and the way you actually get those athlete counters on this card is each time an FA spell or trap card or effect is activated, you place an athlete counter on this card, which is a really cool effect that this card is a once per turn negate that gets absolutely huge. We then play a single copy of Psychic In Punisher. This card also gets absolutely massive and just goes in for game. We then play a single copy of the Sword Soul Supreme Sovereign. This card is really good because for each banished card, this card gains 100 attack and defense, and any monster your opponent control loses 100 attack and defense, which is amazing because we actually have an in-archetype floodgate that makes our opponent's cards get banished. So this card is a really good card, and since Baron is actually unfortunately not around anymore, we have this card as an amazing level 10 synchro. We then play a single copy of the Virtual World QB. This card is really good because any card sent from the field to the grave is banished instead, which again works with our copy of our Sword Soul Synchro monster. We then play a single copy of Motorhome Transport. Motorhome Transport is amazing because depending on its level, depends on the effects that it has. If it's a level 11 or higher, it cannot be destroyed by battle or by card effect, and if it's a level 13 or higher, once per turn, you can actually target an FA monster in your graveyard and special summon it. And this card also gains 300 attack for each FA spell or trap card, or each time an FA spell or trap card effect is activated, you get to increase this card's level by 1, which is amazing because this card is going to come out absolutely massive and just keep getting larger and larger attack points, which is so cool. We then play a single copy of Kite Drake. Kite Drake is really good because when it's summoned to your side of the field, you destroy all the cards on the field, which is just really good to use this card as a board wipe. Speaking of board wipes, we also play a single copy of Scarlight Red Dragon Archfiend. This card is amazing as a 1-of because it does deal with the opponent's monsters and do burn damage, which is super cool. One copy of Excel Synchro Stardust Dragon. This card helps us synchro climb, which is super cool about this card, is it actually will bring back a tuner from the graveyard to help you synchro climb into another monster, which is amazing. One copy of Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon. Crystal Wing is a walking negate, which is amazing about this card. It's just a really good monster negate in the deck. And then a single copy of Clearwing. Clearwing is also a monster negate, which is why we play this card as a 1-of in the deck. A single copy of Riser Dragon because it can level manipulate itself, which is super cool to be able to do and be basically a walking Foolish Burial. Plus it's a tuner synchro monster to be able to help us go into other monsters, which is amazing. Then play a single copy of Ancient Fairy. Ancient Fairy is really good to be able to work with our field spells because during your main phase, you can actually special summon a level 4 or lower monster from the hand, but you cannot conduct the battle phase this turn. You activate this effect. And also during the main phase, you can destroy as many cards in the field spell zone as possible. And if you gain 1,000 life points, then add a field spell with a different name from your deck to your hand, which is a really cool effect to be able to use with this card to search out the different FA field spells with this card's ability. You then play a single copy of Ancient Pixie. Pixie is really good because after resolving a field spell, you actually get to draw a card, and also you can target a face-up attack monster on the field and destroy it, but you must have a field spell on the field to activate its effect. And then finally, we play a single copy of Dawn Dragster. Dawn Dragster is great as a 1-of in the deck. This card is basically a walking spell and trap negate, which is so cool about this card. I absolutely love it. So, that's going to do it with this one, guys. I hope you enjoyed. This deck is super fun to be able to play. If you guys have never played FA before, you should definitely give this deck a try because it's really fun to be able to play, especially with all the cool engines that I included in this build for you guys. I absolutely love the deck because it's really consistent and really cool to be able to play on all the different tracks that are the field spells, and it's just really a fun deck. So that's gonna do it for this one, guys. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Definitely hit that bell and become part of the notification squad, and we'll see you guys in the next video. See you later, guys.